Hey everyone, it's Ross. Welcome to Season 2, Adventures in the Void Spacecast. This season we're talking about independent and folk science fiction tabletop role-playing games. The following is an actual play of the original Starfaring role-playing game, Classic Traveler, by Mark Miller and Games Designer Workshop. So get your vac suit on, your sidearm ready, and prepare to exit jump space. We've got money to make and worlds to explore, and we hope you'll join us on these adventures. Out here on the Imperial Fringe, it's just us veterans of the Fifth Frontier War keeping the space lanes moving. Free traders like us, still willing to evade the pirates, the terrorists, the zealots, the criminals. They prey on these war-torn ruins of 100 worlds. They call us travelers. We aren't liked, but we're needed. We use our skills we learned in the service to operate starships and earn a buck. We ain't looking for trouble, but it always finds us. When it does, it'll find us ready. So, the Battle of Iterati is done. You all dived toward the planet, and you landed. As you know, the Lucky Yo took damage. You got the AI with you, and you spend a couple of weeks in hiding in the wilderness of Iterati. You can see for the next few hours burning wreckage trailing from the sky as a likely sector-wide cataclysm flashpoint that has the potential to engulf the entire sector unfolds about. People of Iterati saved. And after a couple of weeks, get the ship running, take off, just like any other time, make your way. Takes, takes 2 jumps. Whether you decide to go back to Raleigh or Giant Bear Hunting Planet. Actually, let's just chat. Which one do you pick? Do you go back to Raleigh for old time's sake? Or do you avoid that? Actually, you could go to Asteltine, too.
Our jump drive was destroyed.
You have to fix it. So you fix it.
Okay.
Like, you're there on the planet, like 2 weeks, and you find parts very discreetly, bring it back out to where you have your ship, quiet and stealth. You do a wilderness repair, recovery operate ship, enough to where you think you can Flammarion, Lady of Mercia is. So, where do you go?
Boy, we hate Raleigh, don't we?
I mean,
Does
our
anybody
goal is
actually
to
want to go there?
No.
Our goal is to get back to Elizabeth, right?
The goal is actually to get to Flammarion and then Elizabeth, but Flammarion is where the Lady of Mercia is. You could also just leave the Lady of Mercia. I guess that's true too.
No.
I don't know. We'll go with Flammarion by way of
We've
Debar.
sunk too much money into that ship.
Yeah. Plus, I thought we're pretty much going our separate ways.
Well, he's right.
So, yeah.
Elizabeth is where supposedly. Actually, I don't suppose it matters if they're taking the Lucky Yo and heading out. I suppose that might be where you part ways. But you can tell me. So you get to Debar, and you have to land for fuel, and there's a hunting lodge. Mercifully, Debar is not seeing a lot of traffic come through, and you jump to Flammarion. Flammarion, it's been 2 weeks. Flammarion is in a state of like lockdown, like high security alert. and you see something very strange. Startown Liberty is vacated.
Whoa.
And they have shut down commercial operations here, and the military has taken over. This is a imperial world. This is an imperial world, and ships escaped Iterate. Probably, I would imagine. Actually, this would be a month later, so they probably did it within the first week. And they probably went directly to Flammarion. It's probably the first place they went. And you notice that the Scout Service office is also closed. If you go and check, your friend is long gone. And otherwise, you're able to secure the Lady of Mercia, and both ships are working after about a week in system. And you also could say goodbye to a group of people who you do have the money to just give them money to get out of here if you'd like. Isabella, Zoe, Gus, Velez.
Give them
They
money.
sure they don't want to.
Aren't they supposed to pay us for,
continue.
transport or something?
Yeah, they definitely have not found work in the time that they've been hopping around with you.
They
But
owe
they don't
us
wanna
like
work
8
for us?
million credits each.
So yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They ask for money. They don't have any. They can't.
I offer them a ride back Corward, or back, not Corward, but in the trailing direction.
So work for your ride.
Work for passage. The lady needs a crew.
Zoe and Gus and Velez agree to join your crew. Isabella refuses. She says that she's decided that she's going to stay.
Okay.
Classic Isabella. Don't
I
mind me. I'm
will.
just gonna hang out in this conflict zone.
Does anybody object to breaking her off like 100K for, services rendered? And
No, she's actually done a lot of work, so she can get paycheck.
Okay.
Yeah. What about like 85?
yeah, good, you know what? Good call.
50.
You say that forever.
We're bidding lower on her behalf.
Hey, she's no low pack. Let's not pretend like.
Right?
I stifle a tear. I've trained you well.
So, is this the place then where you're gonna part ways, and one of you is gonna head forward, one of you is going to return, I think, to Iterate, where you intend to join a monastery after your spiritual experience, seeing into the eyes of the beast, and another
That's
plans to link up with the Lucky Yo with the Reavers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I took the Lucky Yo to the Reavers, I could give a ride to books to Iterati, I guess.
So
If you need to go on your spiritual quest of
Yeah.
self-discovery.
Yeah, that'd
Side
be
quest.
perfect. That'd be
Side
perfect.
quest. And Isabella asks, he says, well, Captain Chapman. Strange. I mean, no offense or anything. But here we are. And I'm not headed home, so do you need a crew member?
Everything's coming together. We're already building a whole crew. This is great. Trust me, I'm gonna need you around for however long Books is self-deluding and
Okay.
Wait, so that does mean though that by the time Chapman and Books go on their other adventure, that Isabella is somehow not part of the crew.
you don't know. Like, for all we know, that session took place during one of her many little attempts to try to help people out in some conflict zone before needing to get rescued.
A conflict zone you started the conflict in.
Maybe she was just locked in the storage room or something the whole time.
Yeah.
All right. So you have two fast traders getting ready to depart Flammarion. One is headed. Second.
EAC.
No. Okay. One of them is headed trailing, the other headed spinner. So, Shipley, any last words to your former crewmates?
Yeah, I'll wish them well and wish them lots of loot or whatever it is they're getting up to out here. And yeah, I think that's about it.
So here you are on the Lady of Mercia making these exchanges. Everybody's deciding, all right, I'm going to head trailing or I'm going to head spinward. But before you leave the Lady of Mercia, signals appear on them.
Of course they do.
I don't have a token for it, so it's going to be, I will draw actually. They are cruisers. These are further out. But they're part of a group, a crew run that's obviously entering the system. Probably the response fleet. And they ID your vessel. Unfortunately, cruisers can detect like 600,000 kilometers out. and they say, Lady of Mercia, this is the Crew Ron 510th of the Imperial Navy. Please shut down your engines and prepare to be boarded.
Well, that figures.
I mean, you guys are waiting, or gonna go to Elizabeth to get a clean transponder, right?
Oh, sorry. This would have happened after that.
Or after that?
Yeah, sorry.
After we clean the transponder?
Yeah, so imagine
Well,
you go get to Elizabeth. I described that at the end of the last session too, so
Yeah.
I'm getting it all mixed up.
So wait.
You would have done that. You would have seen the body of Yukon. You would have got the
Guys,
coordinates.
we just got a clean transponder. Who destroyed our reputation in the last week?
So you,
We don't
go
know.
back.
We don't.
Everything's repaired. You're getting ready to leave after you make it back from Elizabeth. And then there you go. Sorry, my bad.
With a jump 2 engine and everything, right? Or is that still in the future?
Yeah, no, you got the Jump 2 engine.
All right, we're good to go except for
Thrust 2.
these cruisers here. Well,
we can't outrun them, right?
We can't. Cruisers probably are like jump 3 at least, I would think, but I don't know that means I don't know what their thrust is going to be.
They can fire, I think, 8 beam lasers each, and there are 6 of them, and so you'll have to endure that for 3 rounds if you attempt to jump.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined
Although
to.
It doesn't look like they're locking on to you. They're just simply.
Yeah, no, I'm inclined to follow their order.
I was gonna say this is time for Isabella to do the one job she was originally hired for, which is our liaison with Imperial folks.
You know what? I got a good feeling about these guys. Plus, they can kill us at will.
Yeah. So they, she does that. She gets on her smock with the Imperial Sunburst with the red scheme, and everyone ready? She goes out to the cargo bay. They would board you. And she gets down to the cargo bay. They come alongside in a I can't remember what they're called. I don't think it's just a pinnace. There's like a long vessel that does
Ship's
like
boat. Right?
what's it called?
A ship's boat.
I know that I see it in artwork, but they do like, you know, landing operations on the planets and stuff. And the
Cutter.
maybe it's the cutter. But they do. The Imperial Marines are here. They come out and they're armed and they've got combat gear on. They're set up for zero-G combat and everything. And then a crew of officers comes out, and they say, "Captain Bellamy, please look around. You know who you are."
I'll stroll on over, give him a salute, casually.
They give you a crisp and proper salute, and they hand you a set of documents.
What's this?
It's your arrest warrant.
You've been served.
I will
Divorce
send.
papers, yeah.
It is a request to appear by Imperial authority and for an oath.
Request to appear before whom?
For Imperial authorities.
Oh.
Back on Elixir. But I sent you the oath. So, and they do indeed serve you. And with that, they depart, having other things to do as well.
I call out after them. Can you not be so scary and threatening about that sort of thing in the future?
An aide-de-camp just like gives you a scowl.
Captain, I'm reconsidering which crew I should be going with.
Well,
how sad would that be if we all just left?
If you
Captain Bellamy
if you come with me, you're gonna have to start calling me sir. And I'll show him the
what?
I'll show him the document. I've been knighted of the Order of Deneb, and it's an oath. I, Klaus Bellamy, do swear my undying allegiance to His Imperial Majesty Strephon.
What?
How did this?
I'm snatching that right out of your hand. What is this?
Yeah.
How much did you pay you?
So if he snatches it out of my hand, I will go ahead and post it to the roleplay section here.
Sure.
Books is considering stealing Bellamy's identity.
And then, and then you find that there are like orders for all the crew, including Isabella and Lothak. And Velez, who's still here. Yeah.
Vows for life? Are you sure you can make that kind of commitment, Captain?
What if they stop paying you?
I want to remind you all that we all already did a version of this. It's been a little while, but and it might mean more to some than others, and I might not talk about it too much because it's not good business. But it is what it is, and we served, like it or not, some version of Imperial justice here.
Wait, where is this? Where can I see
I put
this?
it in roleplay.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
They're gone, right? They leave, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're gone.
so once they're gone, I'll say gonna have to be pretty tight-lipped about the AI, though.
They totally ignore that. She like pops up like, what are those documents?
Does she have a body yet?
No, she's still disembodied, so that's a problem.
All right. Yeah. I've been knighted.
You see her like stop, and you can see that she's thinking. You have a degree of great importance then in the imperial hierarchy. In some ways, you answer only to the emperor of the Solar Empire.
I posted it to the wrong roleplay section. Posted it to Otherworld.
Oh, here it is.
She thinks for a moment, and then you can see again, and she said she has begun to become more. How to put this? She can act anthropomorphically, provide a more human expression, less uncanny valley a little bit, and so she gives a little more, kind of like a sideways, like look, an inquisitive look. It says, mathematically, it is not hard to determine that it would have been physically impossible for an authority of the Empire to have reached Imperial authorities in time to have reported your actions, for you to have returned to Elizabeth, made it back, and for the Emperor to have signed off on this. That suggests that the Emperor must have signed this sometime before the Battle of Iterate.
Not necessarily. I'll take a little time explaining how the Imperial bureaucracy works and how sector dukes and everything like that. I don't know how much time she's been able
I was
to
gonna say-
investigate libraries and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I'll add a couple of details on her behalf. One thing to make clear is that this is pinned by the hand of the Emperor. The Emperor has said, "You are a knight of the Order of Deneb." The Order of Deneb is
that's huge. That's
yeah,
enormous.
I think the Order of Deneb, I think, is like one of the unique off the top of my head. Maybe one of the listeners is gonna like light me up for this, but I think off the top of my head, it is the oldest order, and the Emperor himself is the only head of the order. And technically,
this is good God, this is an imperial letter of marque.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like
Is that worse than a warrant?
I mean, it's much worse. I mean, it means the sword wielders will shoot me on sight, which I guess they would have already done. But
They did shoot us on sight, Captain.
that's true. Good point. I'll have to behead them on sight, though.
There you
Hold
go.
up. I need to open Traveler Map and try to figure out like the minimum amount of time ago a message could have been sent from the Imperial capital. Like, what would you have done that could have earned you this?
Yeah,
Was it when we
basically-
sold that beer at Appleton, or like?
And I don't want to. I may have done some bad math here, but it had to have occurred before the Battle of Iterate, but it did, and it managed to get from capital to this fleet, or with this fleet, depending on where the fleet was coming from. Probably not, though. It probably came by jump 6 to a expert station and then was given to the crew run as they were entering the system.
Yeah, the X boats could do it but it would. Well, anyway. Well, I can hand wave the
jumps
math.
at jump 6, so it'd have to be at least 28 weeks ago.
So I probably did the math wrong.
I'm just thinking
Emperor,
about it. Like,
don't forget Agent of the Imperium. There's all sorts of crazy stuff.
That's true too.
The Emperor has access to technology that's maybe above 16.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah. So, I mean, what it means is Yukon was able to act on believing that you would succeed.
Well, it's all voluntary, Shipley. I'm not going to tell you got to come. I'm not doing anything different than what I was going to do before. I'll tell you that, regardless of this thing. He must have known that, or he wouldn't have sent it. So.
Yeah, and you all also have your own fief in case you want to retire your character and go command your fiefdom. Well, let's start with the lucky yo. Elizabeth refuses. I'm sorry, not Elizabeth. Sorry. That's crazy. Isabella refuses. Velez accepts, and they get into an argument so fierce that Velez is struck and their friendship ends.
Refuse or accept which specific offer?
The knighthood.
Hmm.
Now,
Why does Isabella feel she can't accept the knighthood?
they were right. This isn't the empire that we served. They have failed this sector, and only people in this sector will turn things around. Not the imperial court, not the moot. They are so far removed what is happening in the Spinward Markets.
I'm so proud of her.
Radicalized Isabella.
And this knighthood is
But a high five, Chapman.
absolute and final proof.
We broke her.
Oh, well, and importantly, Velez is like, oh, you cannot deny something that was a mark given directly from His Majesty. This is unheard of. And she like spins on him and yells that I have served the imperial court and imperial law all of my adult life, and it has not helped these people. It only seems to benefit the people in the core, which are able to send across the galaxy orders of knighthood at will, and yet are completely incapable of actually making a difference for blah 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 blah. And they go like this, and ultimately it comes to blows. She smacks Velez. Velez is incensed. He's to him this is something more ancient than these problems, because it is. This is a 1,100-year-old empire, and these orders have held together what order there is, and it maybe even brings up the long night that existed between the Second and Third Empire, and how, of course, that and anyways they argue, and their friendship ends, and Velez basically intends to go to the knighting ceremony, and changes his mind. He was going to go with the Lady Mercy. So.
Well, Isabella, you're a righteous fool, but but you've been pretty well to travel with, and I guess I'm glad we met. And I'm honored to have been able to save your life. Hopefully, you don't get yourself into that kind of scrape again.
If I do,
I would like.
You've prepared me. And she shakes.
I'd like to clarify for the other side of the party. I wouldn't hold it against you guys for selling out and becoming knights sworn to the Emperor. I'm more than happy to
consider
have
that having
friends.
a knight sworn to the Emperor in your group is like the ultimate double agent card. Like that can open so many doors if you have to deal with the Empire.
I'm more than happy to count among my friends some Knights of the Order of Deneb. It's not for me. You guys have fun with that. But yeah, like I'm not, Isabella, she's kind of going through like a big transition right now. I think you guys have fun with that. It sounds cool. That's for you. And sometimes if I'm ever in the neighborhood and in a jam, I might have to ask for a friend.
Chapman is turning down the near endless wealth available in owning an entire fief.
I'm
You don't understand. It's not about that. You say that a Knight of the Order, as owes nothing to anybody except the Emperor. I have a very different view of what knighthood entails. You are like a slave to all those who have expectations of you. You're a slave to chivalry itself. That's not me.
I mean, I'm just gonna be me, same old Bellamy.
Simply, you gotta become a knight too, or else Bellamy's gonna lose his knighthood.
Well, it's like this.
I'm going to accept, although I will definitely be around if you guys need help. I think I've learned that resources are everything out here, and I can get more resources by accepting. And I'm kind of toying with coming back after accepting. But but I'm not sure. I want to nail down these endless ridges first.
Don't let me forget that.
One of
Don't
us
let
should
me
have
forget that.
Okay.
One of us should have become a sword wielder.
So books.
mean,
wait, I want to hear from Books.
Yeah.
Books, what do you plan to do?
So Books is still in a very strange, like, mental state ever since the hunting experience. He's like, everything is kind of like a daze. He did write two like beautiful poems for his for Shipley and Bellamy. So when he departs, he has like a nice little envelope with like a ribbon. He's gonna hand it to them both. But like being like a knight is the last thing on Books' mind. He's just like
He's
keeps
free
seeing
from earthly concerns, anyways.
Yes, he is. He keeps seeing the the animals on the hunting trip, and then like scenes from his childhood and like friends, and then the friends from his childhood and the animals kind of like become one, and it's like this really weird trippy thing. So he's like, he has bigger concerns.
Hold on, what did you eat when we were stranded in Iterati?
There's just this like plant, this weird plant. He was hungry.
So you offered to give Lothak a ride, to, I think, did somebody, well, anyways, before any of that, we even get to that. So Isabella and Velez, they're fighting, and Chapman is like seemingly cheering him on, and then Shipley is, you guys are talking about.
I'm definitely cheering them on. I want to know who's going to win.
But you're also like, if you're in the area, blah blah blah, and all this is happening, and I imagine one of these things is simply left unseen, uneven talked about, and Lothak picks it up and sees it in her what do you call it, imposably thumbed and yet clawed hands, and sees that she's a knight, a dame of the Empire, and she just like stands there, gawks at it.
Congratulations, Lothak.
She's the only one.
I think
worthy.
Lothak
She's
is probably the one
literally
person who's actually earned this.
What expression is on her face, since we could see it?
She's never been given anything substantial before by anyone. The closest thing was being entrusted by Dictator Masterton to be his, which was a thing of pride. She was a person of confidence on her world, and probably more autonomy and more free spirit than most. But she's still a Walstonian, and they're this sort of stuff is not in their wheelhouse. But she looks and she says, "Well, Shipley, Captain Bellamy, I suppose I'll go with you." Suppose. Yeah. Yes, I'll go with you.
We'll be
Very
glad to have
welcome.
you, Lothak.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll pay
We'll
for
get
my
you better
way
food.
home.
Yeah.
She requests pay. I think I was about to divvy up the pay, and I did it wrong.
Yeah.
How much do you pay them? So you pay Isabella 16,000 credits, and we can say that goes to Velez and everybody, etc. But what about Lothak? You have 5 million credits among you.
I mean, what's a general crew? What was she getting paid as a driver?
As a driver, maybe 100 credits a week or something, which was a
well,
lot. But
okay,
as a crew member, if she gets her standard crew price, it's like what, $6,000 a month. So she'd get, I don't know, 6,000 credits total, maybe something like that. 120,000 credits for the whole thing, her whole time in service.
Seems
It
fair
was
to
like
me.
a junior crew member, though. I feel like she was like an apprentice.
Wait a second, I thought you were supposed to be a
I-
monk.
Aren't you? Yeah, you want with nature and all that.
He's encouraging her to disengage from material.
Yeah, what is money?
I'm going to take the opposite stance from Books. This reeks to me of speciesist prejudice. We're going to pay her less just
Yeah.
because she's a barger.
We could just
I
give her
mean-
some kibble.
I mean,
Probably like it.
no, she doesn't like kibble. She likes meat, man. She wants meat. That's the main thing.
I think she's worth it. I mean, she's taken fire. You know what I mean? She's been like under fire, and like her life has been at risk, and she's done stuff for us, and not asked questions, and not complained, and
she says, I think I ought to get an equal share.
Wow, look at
I'm back her
Lothak.
up on that, actually.
Yeah, that's impressive. Speaking up for herself.
Divided by 6. So I messed up. Yeah, I said
We've
you guys
also
have-
radicalized Lothak.
Okay. So a couple. I'm not going to read the whole oath for the listeners, but there are maybe 2 or 3 things in this oath that should be mentioned. Let's see. It says in the oath that it is for life, a vow for life, and of all subsequent generations to adhere to the oath. And then it talks about the imperial mandate, the first days of the empire, which I don't even know if you all would know about, interestingly. Books and Chapman would, because they have a 12 intelligence. But anyways, and then it says it essentially commands you to go out and trade and make money, which is, for those that know, related to the imperial mandate, first one. And it is a warrant to do that, and then you're also given a fief on a planet. There are different planets with territories. So, all right. Any last words to each other before you part ways, and some of you go to a knighting ceremony and some of you head elsewhere?
Yeah, I want to set up a rendezvous with the Books and Chapman crew in an appropriate amount of time to get my affairs in order, and then come back and reestablish contact with them in this sector.
So you want to go to the knighting ceremony, and then you want to come back to this subsector.
Yes.
How about like in a year or so? Let's meet up on Walston for a drink, a little bit of fish soup.
No. Okay.
I suppose Lothak has to go to Walston.
If you had somewhere better in mind. I've never
No, that
had
does
any
work
Alley.
because we can bring Lothak back too.
we can plan a trade route that takes us there and back
Yeah.
again.
Okay. Oh wait.
I'm
so
also kind of thinking ahead, like where in the subsector is going to be the best potential for stability in the long run. And I'm like, well, Walston's always been quiet, right? Like that's not going to change.
Walston's not going anywhere.
so
Ideally.
You know what? In fact, in this upcoming war, I'd put my money on Walston to come out on top of it. You know, if you think that the Duke of Iterati or the Reavers or the Sword Worlders or whoever has got this one, nope, it's Walston. They're gonna prove themselves. They're gonna be the main power here. Mark my words.
So Shipley, are you coming back to join the Lucky Yo and enter the fight with the Reavers? Or coming back to trade? What are you intending to do in the subsector? Or you just don't know yet?
I don't know yet.
Right.
I do know that I don't want to entirely cut ties with the place altogether.
Okay.
It's grown on me like a fungus.
All right. Also here is Doc Ocean. And Doc Ocean takes his cut, and he plans to go back with Bellamy. So the next place you go is Elizabeth. And on the station, something fairly uncomfortable happens. A extremely over the top, and what would I call it? Like ostentatious knighting ceremony, which has local nobles, and everyone's dressed really well. Except that the knighting ceremony itself, to your player's eyes, I don't know what the traveler would see this as, looks remarkably medieval. And I mean like literally they're like wearing simple robes, and if they have something, like if they have a naval uniform or some kind of regal dress, they actually put something over it to make it more humble. And it takes place on stone. And Anyways, how do you all dress? This would be Shipley and Bellamy, of course. Doc Ocean and Velez.
Get the nicest clothes I have.
We have 5 million credits. I'm gonna buy like some slightly nicer clothes.
That's true. Yeah, you could buy the nicest clothes.
Nothing
possible
like
from them.
crazy, but like, you know, a little nicer.
Okay, you get
Oh,
like
come on, go all out. Wear the ridiculous Eurovision uniform. Like,
I am the Empress. No.
I'm gonna wear a nice version of what I usually wear. So my regular
Oh.
coat, all cleaned up, with maybe a nice collared, ruffled shirt, and
You're gonna go with the end of episode 4 thing, where you just wear a nicer version of what you usually.
Same outfit.
where Han
Yes.
Solo literally just buttoned up,
Just
and that was
buttons
it.
up and that's it.
that's it. What else do you need?
Yeah, they ask that you kneel, and in an ancient and old form of Anglic, they ask you to repeat the oath that you were given, and, that you could meditate on, and then shortly thereafter, in the ceremony, everyone there tries to speak to you, of which you know no one. Not one. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think anyone here is a noble. Velez eats it up, and this is a natural environment for him. And he wears a. He also obtains a very nice suit, and proudly announces himself as a member of the Imperial Red Sun, and intends to go back and try to lobby the Moot in order to help the Spinward marches and come back with real resources and make a difference.
Yeah, good for him. Show Isabella what's up. Totally full of herself.
Yeah, how do
she think she is?
She's gonna get shot.
The guy gets knighted, and suddenly he's a huge patriot.
First
and
of
has
all,
full
I want to remind everybody, I've never not been. I just haven't ever actually spoken it out loud. But none of my actions have contradicted this stance. And I've always thought that she was kind of a,
Okay, Captain.
Well, I said it.
You're saying this.
Righteous
You're trying to tell some stranger this. You're like,
You
look,
don't
no,
understand.
this is.
I'm arguing with Chapman. Like, if there's a version of it in my head that's like,
I don't know, Captain. You
let
can
me
say
tell
what you
you
want,
this-
but you volunteered to give her money, so.
This person at the dining
Because she
event just
did her-
keeps trying to get away from you.
I've
and
had
you're
like
trying to
3
explain
drinks.
it.
I've had 3 drinks, which is way more than I usually have, because I can't ever trust myself to get drunk with this crew. And so I'm yeah, it's a, I don't 3 drinks in.
He says all this. We have had arguments with Isabella when she was new to the crew because she was too patriotic for our plans, and now all of a sudden,
Listen,
Yeah, there's some conversations that are coming to mind.
there's I I say to this stranger, listen, it's like some people think that dumb equals patriotic and patriotic equals dumb. There's a way to be patriotic. Okay, there's a way to do it, and there's a way not to do it, and some
You
people just
sling
don't
some
understand.
alcohol on somebody nearby.
Oh, sorry about that, buddy.
That's-
Let me get that for you. But some people, am I right? You got just ungrateful, just ungrateful.
He doesn't have
Shipley, you took
his
his
cutlass
phone
on
away
him, does
from
he?
him, right?
Poor
I'm kinda, like,
Bellamy. Poor
edging
Bellamy.
towards out of the room.
He's probably sad that he lost his friends. You know what I mean? Like that's the unspoken
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. You give and you give, and what?
All right. What is Shipley? How do you I don't know, entreat your audience, all the people that want to try to gain you as a contact now. Suddenly you're the contact. You're the patron.
Well, that's an interesting turn of events. I guess I'll just talk it up and try to get a feel for who's in the room since I really don't know anybody. Especially to see if anybody has like ties back into the sector, or if they came here from farther inward.
Yes, they will tell you that these. So travelers, as I've said, and this is, I guess, I am to you, my traveler universe. Travelers are unique, and that's why they call them travelers, not just mechanically or, it's not like saying adventurer. It's like a traveler is a certain thing in the world, and it's unusual. Not everybody does travel, and so these people are from like, the Lunian subsector and from Glisten. And I think some of you are from Glisten, recall correctly. But yeah, and a lot of them are military families, but they're interested to, they're sort of like lower hanger-on type nobility that feels like they can get something out of a knight. That's kind of what's going on. Where's your fief, by the way?
Do what?
On the card, do you remember where your fief is from? That's a real planet.
I do not, but I can check. Give me a second.
Because those people, if they're anywhere nearby, would be particularly. So if it says glisten, that's going to be huge.
Wait, our actual fief is in the physical card you sent us?
Mm-hmm.
I just happen to have it sitting right here.
This all happens in character. The listeners can hear Shipley like going
like
through her
rustling.
purse.
Like I'm checking every single pocket, like in the soles of my shoes.
They're like, so my lady, what did His Majesty bestow your territory? And you're like, oh, I've got it right here somewhere. Leave it on the glove box on the Lady of Mercia.
Pulling out cards, like one of them's an expired debit card. There's a couple ID cards with different names on it. Okay, I think it's Regina.
Okay, I think Regina's
home port says Regina. Is that it?
Home port?
It says home port. Free trader, Beowulf.
So yours is also there. Yeah, your planet would be home port, and so Regina is much further forward. Interestingly, it is near Vargar space. The Vargar extents, but it is like almost outside the.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, so probably no one here is from there. So yeah, that's you. There are people that they feel like they can try to get something out of a knight. And they find out your fief is from Regina. They're interested in what your plans are, and so if you're opaque or vague with your plans, eventually they will, kind of return back to their whispers. Everybody here is trying to get an angle, which that is something I guess that isn't new for you, because that's not any different than trying to do speculative trade on a Class C starport.
I mean, let's see here.
But
how far away is it?
Regina's corward toward Vargar extent.
Okay, it's still in the Spinward Marshes, though.
Yeah, is it far enough that the whole year meeting is going to be thrown off, or?
You could do a year meeting. Is everybody doing this year meeting? Just so I can.
Hold on.
Captain Bellamy, is he doing it as well, or is it just Captain Bellamy?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
I need to know that. Okay, so I can. I need to rearrange something, but we'll move on here from the knighting.
That's entirely doable. I mean, it's not that far away.
Yeah.
If we're going to jump to ship.
Okay, so this is actually handy because this advances the year in the timeline, which we'll talk about in a minute. But meanwhile, people that aren't here, some other people head toward another world, drop someone off, wish them the best, and perhaps a couple of weeks later, let's skip to another planet on another world. A different one of our heroes. In the lush fields of Iterate, there is the Universal Brotherhood that accept you, despite your past, or allow you to come in and set all of your earthly burdens aside and commit yourself to the one true Sun.
Awesome.
And it really is a peaceful life. And for the first time, you were a Marine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you were a Marine and you worked like on ground vehicles and could figure them out during the war and everything. For the first time since before you entered the war, daily you receive your obediences where you work the earth. Simple thing. And the pressure doesn't change, and the gravity is the same here. Every hour, every day, and you have a schedule. Things don't constantly change. They're not just constantly like, what's going to happen next? Am I going to get sucked out an airlock from a beam laser ripping open the hull? For many nights, you have dreams. You've had them since you were in the Marines anyway. But you find, for one of the first times in your life, that the waking world is more peaceful. And then, what would you say your obedience is that you were given? Is it to scrub the floors or to plant something, or what kind of job were you given?
So initially I was helping out with the farming, just, planting some stuff, moving some dirt, and I actually helped after being silent and watching this inefficient way that they were doing things. I decided to show them a more efficient way. So I wrote out these blueprints and I gave it to the people in charge, and it worked. They were very impressed. They put this together. It was much more efficient. However, what they didn't like is the fact that I spoke out about this. It wasn't my place to bring this up, so I got punished for that.
What does your punishment look like?
Basically, we go into solitude, where they put you in this room for about a week. They bring you meals and stuff. It's humane, but you can't talk to anybody, which for me, I mean, was fine. But no human contact, and you read, you write, you reflect, with the idea of kind of reflecting on what brought you there. Like why did you make the mistake you did?
The person that you turn it into, the brothers, value wisdom, and so most of the elder brothers that lead the monastery are elderly or older, except one who's younger than you. Wait, what? How old are you? Actually, you're not that old. You're like 20, right?
I'm in my mid-20s.
Okay, so most of these brothers are very on Iterate. They're not part of like this monastery is not an academic institution.
Okay.
But the person, one of the elders, is actually someone who's younger than you, and it's because he's very literate. He's able to administer things for the monastery. So he's the person that ultimately sees your stuff, and you find later that it's used by the brothers for toilet paper. And of course, they think that you need to like thank on, that you need simplicity. Now, it's one of the kinder older brothers that tries to help you with that. They try to say, you know, in the past, you were focused on the active thinking mind that would constantly, from moment to moment. I know that was your life. They don't call you books. I don't even remember your characters.
Zeke Zeppelin.
Zeke Zeppelin.
Zeke Zeppelin.
Maybe you're given a new name. I don't know.
As soon as you introduce yourself.
They're like, we can fix that. It's
They probably do give you a different name. They probably give you a whole new identity, like you're like Brother Brutus or something now. You know, like, and
like a biblical name, like
Yeah.
Jeremiah, Jebediah, like
yes,
Ezekiel. There you
Brother
go.
Jebediah. I do like a good Old Testament name. So, but anyways, you know, it's a kindly elder that like says, you know, now is the time. Use the parts of your soul that have not gotten to think, they have not gotten to speak. Now they speak. Other parts of you, and so he's trying to help you. So you spend like a week in, you know, meditation, and they are kind to you, and they do give you, you know, they don't. It's not uncomfortable. They bring you back out, and then they like have a whole thing where like they lovingly receive you again, like when they meet together. 'Cause the other thing is like you all like live together and share everything all the time, and it's definitely not an alone experience most of the time. So you leave, you're the again. What is your next obedience? See,
So,
I'm just curious what's going to happen to books here.
so they, you know, after I kind of proved myself again with the farming, they actually give me a little bit of power where I have to help. There's two new brothers that are younger that just got there, and I have to spearhead a project with them where we're building basically like a shed, a big shed to hold all the farming equipment and everything.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm building that with them, but I'm in charge of it.
These two young brothers that you are definitely in charge of are favorites of that young elder. And that young elder is a favorite of them. They're almost like disciples of that young elder. And they talk back and forth while you're trying to do this work. And you can tell they constantly talk behind your back. And then while you're working on something, something gets sabotaged by these two. I mean, you know that because you're a genius. Like you have like an eidetic memory, like you're like a prodigy. Like you can tell that they sabotaged it. But they feign ignorance. Like, I don't know, Brother Jebediah. Just he keeps working on that equipment, but he seems completely unable to work on things or read or understand things. He's just not doing too well. I pray for him every night. Forgive me. You know, like they just. That's anyways. It's your work is not getting done. It's because they're sabotaging it.
So I'm aware of this. Like as you mentioned, I see them. I'm smart. I get this. So I decide that even though this is not in my nature to cause violence anymore or to cause anybody pain, I am going to have to teach them a lesson to stop further, just darkness, right? So out of the two of them, they're both equally annoying and terrible, but one is kind of like the ringleader, or he's the smarter one. He's a little more in charge. Um, so I capture him. I put like a burlap sack over his head, and I tie him up from his feet, and I basically just like put him outside the window where his friend sleeps, and like because I know his friend does his like he writes his notes and stuff outside the window. So I very slowly just dip him down, so just his head is like popping out over the window, like he's saying like peekaboo, like that kind of thing. And then I lift him up, and then
Horrific.
I put him down slowly again. But I'm not gonna hurt him or cause him any actual like
So he wakes up screaming and comes running out, and the rope breaks, and then this guy like goes and smashes down on the ground, and then this other guy's screaming and everything. All the brothers, they wake up in the middle of the night. They come out. Now, obviously, you're not like standing up there. I imagine, like you probably get down or away from it or whatever. Unfortunately, unless you just flee, there's this one brother who's like, smashed his face on the ground. Another one that's screaming after seeing that brother, and there's rope and everything. And there's no evidence that you did this, but the young elder comes up and he accuses you right in front of the whole brotherhood. And at night, with everyone awake, and he says, Brother Jebediah has brought a spirit of an evil son. The evil sons has been brought into our into the fellowship that we have.
And I'm just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, wait, me? I don't know what you're referring to. I was just sleeping. I had some weird dreams. I was sleeping, and
he comes up to you and gets physical, and he takes his index finger and jabs it into your chest. He says, "You lie."
Mm.
And I there's a look that is present on my face when he poked me, and I very quickly try to like put on my like innocent face, but anybody that'd be looking at me in that moment would know what I'm capable of. So I whisper very, very quietly, you don't want to do that again. And I'm making eye contact with him.
Ross, you're the worst. You're making this so hard.
So I smile.
That's true. Andrew did escalate this into Batman somehow.
And I smile, and I go to make it look like I'm going to turn around to leave, but my anger gets the best of me, and I just I dock him in the in the throat, like a little underneath the throat, just to kind of make it so he can't breathe that well. But I do that, and then I go to my room to pack my bags.
They seize you, and they drag you out of the gates with your things, and they have the local authorities pick you up. We'll come back to you later. Meanwhile, now the time has come. So it's been we're approaching a year, and the time is coming when you're going to have this year meeting on Wall Street. And what does Shipley do after she's knighted? Turns to for this year. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Let me pull the map.
No, 268 is where the campaign took place.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's the subsector.
I should know that.
Wall Street.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll use, if I have any resources, I guess I'll try and use them for humanitarian purposes, let's see, where's the, give me a second, I gotta pull the map up. Hang on. Just had
Where
it.
is this, Ross?
It will inevitably be in one of the city worlds, so I'm going to see where Shipley goes, but to kind of cover multiple things going on.
Okay, yeah, so the 567908 and I guess Walston had was pretty stable.
So you go there to try to help maybe Isabella try to to direct humanitarian aid coming into the subsector.
Yeah, if Isabella hasn't actually become a violent anarchist in the time I've been gone, then I'll try to coordinate through her. I mean, if she is, I can just go straight to Chapman.
Yeah, so that indeed
Who has more experience.
that time comes, and if you still want to join the Reavers, Chapman, the time comes where Isabella says, "I am joining."
Well, I have some ideas actually.
All right.
Since I'm now captain of my own free trader.
Oh, wait. I think you muted. Is it me?
Yeah, I can't. No, I can't hear me either.
Okay.
It's dramatic pause.
I've been having trouble with Discord, so.
Wait, isn't it both of our free traders?
Yeah. But I mean, you gave everything up. We'll get to that. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, sorry. Now that we've got this free trader and I'm the captain of it myself, with Isabella at least, I had some other ideas. Certainly sympathetic to the Reavers. I can see myself working for them a lot. But I was thinking, if the Bowman arm is about to get lit up, that maybe the smartest I can do, especially with the Jump 2 drive, is start branching out more towards the Darien Confederation.
Okay.
Because the thing is, the Darien Confederation is not Imperial, although they're allies with the Imperium, and I like that. They're enemies with the Sword Worlders, but they're not.
So are we.
They're not a particularly militant culture. Those Darians are like space elves. So a rough and tumble guy like me who can speak Sword Worlder and who can go toe to toe with them pretty well, I think could find some good work in, defending some of those technology-minded space elves from their rivals. I also did once audit a class at a Darien university on decorative horticulture, and I thought, because Chapman wants so much to increase his education, the natural direction to take it is to go straight to the Darians themselves, who are all about academia, and maybe he can hire a personal tutor for the ship. So I don't know. I kind of want to continue the traveler lifestyle, but running a lot more jobs back and forth between the Darien Confederation and the Bowman Arm, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. That all makes sense. I'll describe the outcome of this. What happens? Let's see. The first thing is that Isabella, at this, says, "I am going to go join." She departs from your crew. You can hire crew, and you have the money. You can hire crew members. That's no problem. So you hire a crew, and you take the Lucky Yo, and you go out to the Darien Confederation. And I will get to that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to skip back to Shipley. Isabella, and I don't know if Shipley would know that, or Shipley would know this, that Isabella has joined the Reavers. I don't know. Actually, do you tell?
I don't think I would actually, because last I met her, she was still was committed, but she was still a pacifist, as far as I was aware.
Yeah.
Until she hit Velez.
Yeah. Well, everyone has their breaking point. So yeah, if Chapman is off in the Darien Confederation, or running between there and here, I'll try to reach out through her with my humanitarian aid resources and be like, hey, this isn't a lot, I can't get anything from the moot, but this is my personal, I'd like to use some of my personal resources to try and make a bit of a difference here.
You do that, and you do make a bit of a difference. But dark times descend on the Bowman Arm, especially those places that you traveled through that had a lot more traffic, like Asteltine and Flammarion and Squalia and Bowman become battleground. But in simple places like Walston, you are indeed able to make a difference. And the huge, not huge to anybody else, I guess, but the difference you make is that by your aid, Walston is able to weather the war. Their people do not stop.
Told
So,
you.
And meanwhile, now the other planet, I'm sorry, actually, so you try to reach out to Isabella, and the intel that you start getting back is dark. And you begin to suspect that there really has been quite a change. You begin to suspect that she's at the center of darker and darker. Meanwhile, the Lucky Yo up in the Darien Confederation, for what I'm about to say, I'm going to generate what I think is the natural result of what you experience there. I have to point out that this is IMT, I Traveler, because it probably is not going to track with what some of the listeners or observers will know about the Darien. But you discover something about the Darians in your time there. So you arrive in the Darien Confederation and you live the free-booting, free-trading captain lifestyle. Are you enemies with the Sword Worlders? Is that kind of the footing that you're on naturally at this point? I mean, they think you are, but I mean, are you trying to is it like I'm going to try to defend the Darien Confederation and try to undercut the Sword World?
I'm an eternal opportunist. I'll, much like when we once collaborated with Sword Worlders, if it makes sense to do so. But I see it as pretty much inevitable that in most situations we're going to be on opposite sides of any given conflict.
I think you're correct, and it in fact does not make sense to do so. And you essentially become an infamous pirate of the Sword Worlds, and are welcomed and harbor in the Darien Confederation as a what are they called?
A privateer?
A privateer, yes. A privateer of the Darien Confederation. Except, something becomes apparent because you have an intelligence 12. And it only takes you several weeks to figure this out. The Darians are, as you described them, erudite, flawless academics, researchers, people of science. You eventually are able to uncover that they are not allies of the Imperium. They see the Imperium as simply something that they can use. And they have an incredible antipathy, a deep, deep hatred of humans. That hatred does not come across as the hatred that boils over like what you've seen with the Sword World. That hatred is something that is slow and cold and regards you as a kind of like a invasive insect.
That's upsetting. They are humans. That's ridiculous.
They are humans. They are humans in the sense that they are humanity with an I. But there is something that they really hate about the other forms of humanity. And that
Snobby elves.
You don't find out. You don't know. So, and that's the thing you uncover. Okay, moving on. Eventually, back to the. Eventually, let's skip back over to Captain Bellamy. Now, you have your year meeting probably before some of these things happen. Okay. That year meeting is going to happen at the end of this. So this is non-chronological. Does that make sense? I'm going to describe some things that's going to happen after that year meeting. And I'm going to describe what happens with Captain Bellamy. I'm sorry. I'm definitely trying to move fast. I want to. Are we over what we expected? Let's see here. Bless you. See, here you are. Right. Well, let's move you over to Elizabeth and start there. Elizabeth, where is it? Marion. Here. Actually, I don't know if that's where you want to go. We'll start from Marion. And you've got the Lady of Mercia. This is after your meeting in Walston. Okay. And so you've split ways once and finally. Where do you go?
Well, we're going to Regina, and back.
Oh, you make it there and back. If that's yeah. So you.
Oh, you're talking about after our year
This is
meeting.
after the year meeting. Yeah. So this is like if you're
Can
going.
I?
Yeah. Go ahead.
How has the year gone?
Full of
Of
adventure
trading.
and excitement and exploration and things that we won't cover here.
Well, was it a successful year for the lady with my AI companion and our nightly crew?
It has been a year of successful adventure for you, and I denote that you might say break even, because at the end of this you have the same money you went into it with, which is not too bad of a thing, because you're staying ahead, and that means you've made payments on the Lady of Mercia. So I'll give you that benefit, the year of payments. Actually, I suppose that is a success.
Yes.
So there's one thing you notice, though you're not from there. I assume that you travel through London or Lunian, probably back through Rylanor. You're from Mora, right?
That's where I was trying to get to. I don't know that I'm from Mora.
Okay. Well, you travel through subsectors, Lanth, maybe up to Regina. And you often have this saying, I don't want to come back to this planet. And you make it all the way to Regina. And you found that you've found yourself saying that a lot.
I figured.
So anyways, you make it back. Where do you go from there?
Let me look at the actual traveler map here.
I'll kind of skip you around. Yeah, if you could, I could skip ahead. Actually, I will do that. I'm going to skip ahead further in. I mean, is the goal still to get home, I guess, is a starting point.
Well, so I always envisioned Bellamy's home as being far from the Spinward Marches.
Oh.
Bellamy's actual home.
So you're no longer trying to get to Mora?
Well, originally Mora was just a place that was like signified a gateway to the rest of the Imperium.
Well, let's do that. Just for now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like you're thinking of really big schemes right now. Let's go ahead and check out the Imperium. So you do that. And you go. Tell me around.
It's years. Yeah. So I mean, it's through Deneb. It's through the corridor.
Deneb.
Yeah. Trailing of the Spinward Marches is the direction we're going. And we have to go through Deneb, through corridor.
Oh, you're going.
And
this is grander than I thought. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's grand.
Your goal is to get.
I'm gonna tell everybody my goal. I want to see Earth before I die.
Whoa. Okay. You do that. You see Earth.
That's a years long journey just to get there in a straight direction in a jump 2 ship. So
the Solomani,
like 4 years.
Not only
assuming
that,
everything goes well.
As you get closer to the coreward part of charted space, Imperial ships start fighting each other. Eventually, you land on places that have claimed the Emperor is dead. And then another place claims the Emperor is alive. And then another place claims the Emperor resides there. And then another place says that they are the true Emperor. And you find many little Imperiums as you go. But you survive all the way to Sol. and you find a ruined husk of a world where its inhabitants live under there.
Boy. Oof.
What a terrible note. But don't worry, you still got a ship and a crew. You find that the Imperium, that you were a knight of an empire that no longer lives, as far as you can tell.
Hey, an oath
Sounds
is an
like
oath.
there's a power vacuum.
Yeah. Well,
I like the way you think. Really ambitious.
Well, what did the AI say? We only answer to the Emperor?
I mean, that's another aspect of great curiosity for me, which I don't need to hear all the answers to now because I have the feeling it would be fun to check out what happens. But the AI needs a body. What was her name? Sarah? I forget what
Sarah.
her name. Sarah. Okay. Sarah
So-
needs a body. The
You-
Darien. You know what? We could make our way back to the Darien Confederation to get her a body.
Well,
Anyway.
we could do so many things. I wish.
Yeah, I
I
know.
wish we could. That does sound awesome. But okay, so here we are, and we're on Iterate, and we're in a little bumpkin town
Back in Saigon.
at a constable's jail in Saigon. Yeah, and here's Books. And Books, you see a dapper looking. I don't know what happens to Chapman. Does he gain weight and then he wears like really ostentatious captain, like free, like a privateer outfit? Does he have like a sash he wears now? I don't know. What does it look like to be a Darien privateer? I don't know.
I was gonna say, because he probably has hired a lot of Darien crew members who, like you mentioned before, actively disdain him just for being a human, but whatever. He'll pay them good enough. His cybernetic modification was like replacement for his
Right.
ears. He's a lot less cautious about violence now because every time he loses a body part, he just gets a new cybernetic replacement.
Yeah,
So
you have a lot of money.
when you see Chapman, he's like, I'm like a full pirate now. Look at this. I got like a robot leg.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you show Books that. Books is like this like withered husk, like rotting in this.
Oh, we can fix that. Don't worry.
Books, what do you do when you see your friend is like mostly cyborg now?
I like kind of like look all around, like I like fully like check out to see like how much he's changed, like in a circle, and my eyes kind of widen, like what the heck. But I'm also super grateful to see him at this moment. But I don't trust him quite as much as I used to yet.
Oh,
I'm a little just
you're kind of
little
Gollum-ish
nervous.
now. You're a little Gollum-ish in there, and it's gone the other way with Books. Oh no.
Yeah, it's a little like that uncanny valley thing. Like I'm like, all right, I don't know, something just seems off. But I'm sure I'll get used to it. Or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just grateful to see a familiar, well, semi-familiar face.
Books, I told you one day that there's always a seat for you on the Lucky Yo. As far as I'm concerned, you and I are co-captains. I don't know if you're enjoying your digs here these days, but if I could persuade you to maybe reconsider this lifestyle and
Yeah, just I don't have to do all that, right? Like I could stay with my body parts as I have them now. Like that's a you thing, right? That's not.
as long as you can hold on to them, sure.
Yeah, then. And I clap him on the back and just hit metal.
Yeah, and a cyborg and an emaciated prisoner walk out of the cell onto the starship.
I want to reassure Books that my favorite parts are still the ones that I was born with, and I offer him a cigarette as I take one of my own. There's no technology is going to be able to replace the feeling.
I graciously accept the cigarette and nod. feel a little more at ease.
But it can replace these lungs.
Skipping ahead another year and a half somewhere in space. See if I got some. For this. This. The Lucky Yo, probably a good 6 months later. Just about everywhere you go, you find a place that's like the Bowman Arm. Everything's kind of falling apart. Little petty barons of different planets have taken over, and it's like the Duke of Iterate. And you currently find yourself a trail of 3 ship's boats armed with pulse lasers. These people have been hired to hunt you down. You've got your dirty transponder after all. They are the intruders I'm going to roll to hit. Oh, roll 20 is so slow. What is that? Is that an 11?
It is.
I think that hits. It's a 10. I was getting that wrong. That one misses. Its pulse lasers are at -1. Come on, roll 20. Does anybody see that? Did that roll?
It says 11.
The last one was 11?
No, that's a 6.
Okay. So one of them hits. I'm going to roll for the hit location. Can somebody help me out with the hit location chart?
What do you need? Like, what would we need to do, Russ?
It's a hit location chart. It's and I got a 6.
Let's see. Hull, I think.
Oh, okay. Like you guys are trying to flee, trying to get the jump drive online fast enough. You've got another round to go, and the hull shatters and rapidly decompresses. You've got your vac suit on. You're now entering a jump drive in a gravity well. So we'll do a navigation check, and you have limited life support because it just fled out of the Lucky Yo. What do you do?
Sorry, and just to be clear, they're hunting the Lucky Yo because of its sturdy transponder.
Yeah, like just the general stink on the ship. Like even like, yeah, we saw this ship again, and its reputation is far and wide.
And they would just be general bounty hunters then, or?
These are bounty hunters. They're Vargar paid mercenaries.
Okay. I don't know if surrender is the right move.
Well, what do you think, Books?
All right, so it's kind of like a case of mistaken identity because of this.
Well,
this
it is the right ship. The ship is a character in the story too. But yeah, I mean, you're not Vampire Landlet. That's true.
Why don't we talk to him? Get on the comms and just kind of explain that
All right.
we're not. Yeah, let's do.
Go ahead.
Chat.
Go ahead. What do you say?
Hey, you know, I see you're shooting at us.
Your crew that you've hired, like stuff is flying out of the ship. There's a hole in the hole of the ship and stuff. You've got your mask on.
Normally, it's polite to to at least give us a chance to explain ourselves before you do something like that. Because if you did, you might have realized you have a little egg on your face there. We're not the people you're looking for. It's actually kind of a funny story. You see, this ship belonged to this terrible person.
The rest of the crew members are desperately trying to get the jump in. I think this is suffice it to say.
You're just like, Steve, what?
this is what's happening with these two basically in 6 months.
As Books just offered them money to buy them off. Like,
The captain's yelling in the background, just give them money! It's like, you see, 14 years ago.
What is that? But the Prince of Bulgaria at that time, oh no. This is not the time. Please. Anyways. All right, I'm skipping around chronologically, so we skipped ahead to poor Sir Bellamy, who found that the throne he served seems long gone, and even the progenitor planet of your race, and the Vargur. Then we skipped kind of ahead to where back with Shipley, and then we skipped ahead, So here we are. This is a year later after you all have come back together, so people haven't split up yet and seen those things that have happened. So as it stands, Isabella is still a friend of yours. Now, Velez, he decides not to rejoin you. So he stays out there and he starts trying to coordinate relief efforts. Or appeal to the moot to have relief efforts anyways. But Isabella's here, and the rest of you here, Lothak is here, and Lothak is greeted as a hero at the starport. In a cacophony of streamers and bright colored fabrics, and everything is painted bright, vivid colors all across the starport. And the Masterstons greet her as a hero as well.
Good for her.
And the Rangers of Walston return for a little while. Is there anything that you want to do on Walston?
I mean, it's time to... I mean, as much as this place sucks, at least they like us here.
Yeah.
So at least they like us, I say, looking over it. But they kind of like you too, right? I can't remember. Did they?
Yeah. We're also the heroes of Walston.
Okay, good. I couldn't.
Less
okay.
impressively, but
So yeah, I mean,
if anybody, I don't know if you guys want to, maybe take a little trip up the volcano, see the sights,
hell no.
get some fresh air.
No, I'd like to stay in this sleepy little town and pet a lot of Vargur on the head that come up to me wanting to get, wanting to nose around and scratch them behind their sleepy ears and enjoy the adoration for as short a time as it lasts.
All right. Sir Captain Bellamy enjoys some space front porch sitting for a while. What about Shipley?
I want to kind of take a look around the planet, see what, if anything, has changed.
Absolutely nothing. Except the volcano being half gone. But other than that, absolutely nothing at all.
Nice.
Yeah. And a town getting wiped out. But they were evacuated.
Yeah, so that's fine.
Wouldn't be a bad place to retire,
I don't know. I'm kind of taking comfort in the fact that the Galactic Empire is kind of a lie. The sector's falling apart. And Walston is just hanging on, unnoticed.
Not having anyone care about you has its benefits.
Mm-hmm.
What about Books? What do you think? You've had some meals. You're not emaciated anymore. You're less Gollum-like now.
And I'm sorry. What do I think about what specifically?
I mean, what do you do on Walston? You just
in Walston. Don't they have those little things? The little animal things.
Yeah, they're called Walstons. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what? That's
Um,
a good point. Bellamy had his own pet on the Lady of Mercia, and none of the rest of us did. We could get a mascot for the Lucky-Yo.
yeah,
Walston
that's
infestation.
exactly what I was. I want to
Get
get
these these
like a
rabbits
little
everywhere.
Walston farm kind of thing going. Like I want to. It's gonna become my new hobby. Like like hamsters, you could have those tubes and you can make like these really intricate little homes for them. I want to do this
And then
with like
chew through all the wiring in your house.
This is what I
I
do
also
now.
I want to train them like that movie Willow. Or is it Will or Willard? Not Willow. Gosh, Willard. I want to have like Walstons that follow my command. I have like a little flute, and yeah, that's like my new passion.
Okay, you can have
So
one
yeah,
Walston pet, which you can have in the future. You'll have this Walston.
okay,
And you're gonna remind me, and it obeys your commands.
awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, what about Chapman?
I mean, we all wanted to have our little reunion here. Presumably, we've set aside some time to grab a drink and catch up, but Chapman is going to ambush everybody with a hefty board gaming session that
Nice.
nobody is consented to. He spends hours like setting up all the pieces of some grand strategy war game.
Nice. All right. Well, you all are treated as heroes here. Your rangers. Lothak is with the former crisis here. She's given her own estate. She is the first Varger to own an estate, as one of the original founding colony families have. They were all humans. One of them suffered theft, eventually had to leave, and was able to find interests elsewhere. And it is Lothak and her family that enters the estate. And as you all take off in your starships from the old dusty starport, Lothak stays here. And in time, Dictator Masterston passes away, and his family does a really poor job of running the planet. And they don't, they just sort of begin to change things. The Varger and the other humans, and in time, in her old age, Dame Lothak becomes the dictator, Dame Lothak of Walston. And life goes on here, making fish cakes and selling fish to free traders that'll come by and buy it. And that ends our adventure.
Mythic Traveler is a Space Western Merchant Classic Traveler campaign in the Mythic Mountains RPG Play Club. The music's by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech and Greg Gibson with Timberzeal. Classic Traveler is one of the first tabletop role-playing games, and the first sprawling space simulator game ever created by Mark Miller and Games Designer Workshop. You can find the free facsimile rules of Classic Traveler by Far Future Enterprises in the description. Mythic Mountains RPG is an online play club that focuses on folk RPGs. Those are the RPGs that aren't run or controlled by some huge corporation, and they don't have some set way to play, and ain't nobody can tell you how you can play them. We play them, however, is the right way, and that's the way we want to do it. The table is the authority. We upload our games weekly on YouTube for everyone to enjoy and sit in without performances, fancy equipment, or monetization. It's just a group of people playing folk RPGs our way. You're welcome to join us, but until then, be safe out there between jumps.